Good morning. Welcome to Forex In Four. Today is Tuesday, November 8th, 2011. Alrighty, starting out with the Aussie on the 1 hour chart here. Why are we doing that? Well, because there's just not a ton of news out there this morning. And we're going to go through the fundamentals before we go through some of the other stuff happening. But as you can see here, fairly tight range here, all right, on the Aussie. We're looking at the 1 hour chart, and you can see that over the last couple of days, we've just sort of been pegged right in here. 140, I'm sorry, say 104.50 down to about 103. Now, they are lower this morning because of the trade balance figures that came in a little bit worse than expected. All right, they were expecting, looks like about a 3 billion surplus. They got about 2.5, so a little bit lower. And they also had business confidence figures. Well, those came in better than expected, but the business conditions came in a little bit worse. So Australia, kind of a little bit of a risk-off move here, but trading very similarly to the euro. And look at the euro. We can see we've been just pegged in this tight range here since last week. Okay, low was really about 136.5, say. High has been up around, let's call it 139. And of course, here we are just under 138, sort of smack dab in the middle, maybe a little bit to the high side. And we're seeing a move here. So what's going on in Europe? Well, nothing really on the data front here. German current account, German trade balance was better than expected by a lot, actually. That's a good thing, but that's not what's important today. What's important today is this debt review vote going on in Italy. And essentially what's happening is that this is going to be a proxy for where Berlusconi stands in terms of does he still have his coalition intact? Does he still have support? Does he still have power? And essentially what's going to happen is that there's relatively little chance that Italian Parliament is going to not agree to the measures that they'd already agreed upon. This is for the 2010 budget acceptance. All right, but what you may see is a bunch of abstentions in the vote, meaning a lot of people aren't going to vote, so it's sort of like they're just turning away from Berlusconi. If that happens, then we're probably going to get a no confidence vote. If we get a no confidence vote, then there's a good chance he could be out. Right now, it doesn't seem like he's going to be resigning anytime soon. A lot of reports coming out yesterday that, he was close to resigning. Not a chance. This guy is probably one of the bigger megalomaniacs out there as far as world leaders goes. For those who are unaware, he also owns a media empire over there, basically controls newspapers, so he can come out and say whatever he wants. And this is in addition to his duties, obviously, as the premier of Italy. So, not a bad gig, I guess, when you own the newspapers and you're in political power. So he's going to be tough to oust, and he's faced these votes before. But what the market's really saying is that the markets would like him out because, again, he's got all this other stuff going on, and they're really looking for more of like a technocrat, somebody who can come in and get behind the numbers, so to speak, and really help Italy out of this crisis. So a couple of things going to happen. If it looks like he doesn't have any support at all and that there's going to be a quick transition to a new government, then that'll be a good thing. Perhaps even if he wins by a large margin, then people might say, all right, well, at least he's committed to what's going on here, and he might decide that he wants to work and not do whatever it is he's been doing. But if it's a close vote, if it's very narrow and people don't know what's going to happen, then this could drag the process out, which could leave us in this range-bound volatility here for some time. So that's what's happening with the euro. We'll just take a peek at the pound. The pound is quietly moving higher. All right, you can see here still a lot of range-bound. All right, but the general trend is just up and higher a little bit there. So what's going on in the UK? Well, they had their industrial production figures that came out earlier this morning, a little bit better than expected. They were expecting a decline of 0.8%. They got a decline of 0.7%. They were expecting manufacturing production to gain 1.9%. It gained 2%. All right, so these are numbers that are fairly decent. They're not great numbers by any means, but they're not dreadfully bad either. So right now with the euro looking so bad and so much uncertainty around it, the pound has been benefiting, and we can see what's happening there. A little bit later this morning, they're going to get their GDP estimates that are going to come out. I just want to take a look at Euro Swissy here. We showed you Switzerland yesterday. All right, the thing was climbing higher. There were talks that SMB would go for further intervention. There were people saying, all right, we got to move the floor up, say 125. I heard somebody say 130. That's quite a big move there. And you can see Swissy's been moving higher. Well, boom, just fell off right there. What happened? Well, consumer confidence came in a little bit worse than expected, reading at 24 versus 22. And then the SNB came out and said that they would not be intervening in the currency for exporting gains. So they said that they weren't going to do it, to try and gain a competitive advantage. All right, but look, it is what it is. I mean, it is an intervention, regardless of what their reasoning is, and we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But you can see here, pulled back. We're still up above the daily pivot. All right, that could be a nice buying opportunity for some. And by the same token, it looks like we can look at the euro here and see. All right, euro's moving higher. Perhaps if we get a push higher on this Italian vote that happens later, say they think he's going to be out, then that could also be a selling opportunity. So I'm really about trading the ranges right here, trying to sell near the highs, trying to buy near the lows, and this in-between stuff, really just sticking to very, very short-term trades like scalps and things like that. Is there anything else going on this morning? We've got, let's just look at Canada. We haven't seen Canada in a little bit here. All right, and we're trading this range here again. This is a familiar story, right? 102 and a quarter about, say, to one parity plus 75. And you can see here the pivot points line up with these things right there, so not a bad move there. They're going to get housing starts in Canada. They're expected to be a little bit lower than last time around, so we'll have to see what happens there. And then lastly, in the U.S., really no news today from the U.S. We got, what was it, the NFIB Small Business Optimism reading. That came in a little bit better than expected, but there's really not a ton of significance there. So, really all eyes today are going to be on this Italian vote, what happens there. In the meantime, when we talk about Italy, we talk about Greece, two of the greatest empires throughout history, the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire. Those are both, it's interesting that they're both experiencing these sort of troubles that they have. Well, it looks like Papandreou's said his goodbyes, and he's ready to help form the unity government and bow out gracefully, and it doesn't look like Berlusconi's willing to do the same. So more of a fight in Italy, but what's going to happen essentially is they're saying, all right, this Eurozone new bailout deal that they just agreed to is ready to be launched next month, all right, provided everybody can just sort of get their house in order. Now, Italy's got rising bond yields, although they pulled back a little bit today. They have a refunding coming up, so we'll have to keep an eye on the market and see what happens there. But that's really about it. Overnight, we're going to get some Chinese figures, which may show how they're doing. But for right now, again, it's just these range-bound markets. So, trade the range if you are gutsy enough. Perhaps we get a breakout or a breakdown. All right, it's good for a quick scalp. Then maybe take the pullback and then get back in the same direction. Hard to say what the type of action is and to make projections at this point because we really just don't know exactly what, if anything, is driving the markets. But we do have U.S. stocks higher this morning, start the day. All right, you can see that. So it looks like there's a bit of risk appetite happening. I can show you where is it. Yeah, that's what we want to look at. So, or I'm sorry, U.S. dollar. That's what we want to look at. U.S. dollar index, and that's just sort of flat there. So not much happening there. So we do have a little bit of risk taking. Oil higher, gold higher, stocks higher. And it's sort of, people are just trying to figure out where to place their money. So keep an eye on this Italian vote. It's going to start a little bit later today. And, that's really it for today. So maybe not a ton of huge moves, but a lot of little small ones in there. So just trade nimbly and good trading to all.